Apparently when you're talking about predators, apparently Chris is a name that is just super synonymous with it. And boy oh boy, do we have more to fill in with you on Mr. B's former friend and former colleague Chris Tyson. Wait.
Ooh, hey Omar.
It's not that Chris?
It's not that Chris.
Oh, okay.
And mind you, her name is Ava anyway, so it's definitely not that Chris.
So when we're talking about nabbing these predators, of course the name Chris Hansen runs.
Omar, we're talking about the predators.
Oh, not that Chris either?
It's not catching the predators. It's not that Chris either.
Chris from AMP? Well, they say you never know who's living next door, so we got to talk about Chris next door and his predator.
Omar, come on now. The situation is not that complex.
Wait, not that Chris either.
Take this right here.
Give me that. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so it was recently revealed that longtime friend and cameraman of Cenat, AMP, and the rest of the guys has been outed for texting some young girl some weird things. Now, the thread is pretty weird, but we gotta go through it because it'll make sense towards the explanation. So we become privy to this information based off of the person who was actually involved, the minor, and I won't spread her information. She's already privated her tweets and stuff like that because, and I don't think people will, but she doesn't need any harassment. She started outing the messages between Cenat and some of the situations that were happening. She DM'd Cenat and it says, "Hi Kai, I recently seen a clip about you speaking on the Ava/Mr. B situation. I do want to let you know that Chris, your cameraman, is definitely a pedo too. I remember coming across him on Omi TV while I was on Discord sharing my screen to my friends. They told me that his name is Chris and that he's AMP's cameraman. I said hi Chris, which got his attention because he was curious how I knew his name. He asked for my age. I lied, said 19 because my friends told me to, and I just went with it. He asked for my Insta. I gave it. As soon as he DM'd me, I told him my real age because I know it's not really cool to lie about that, and from there I thought he was gonna stop answering. But then it led to him being down for 1v1s on COD, which I thought was fine. Later on it turned out to him being flirtatious and texting me wild stuff you shouldn't say to a minor. During this time I just turned 17. I am now 19. This happened December 2021 through February/March 2022. I will gladly show you all the screenshots. I have to prove this. We also used to FaceTime. I remember there was a time he passed the phone to you and I was telling you that I could also beat you on a 1v1. I don't know if this helps you remember me." Now these are some pretty damaging accusations for the cameraman, and I will say that there are some conversations about the words that she's using, pedo is specifically, and the age of consent in these different areas, which in New York it's 17, in Georgia it's 16, so there's conversations there, but this is not me coming to defend him. I also want to point out the fact that she did admit that she lied in this conversation, but as we will read the text messages, she did come out with the truth at some point. And we have the DMs here, and I'm only reading these to give just a little bit of backstory. Chris says, "I wasn't kidding. I actually want to get to know you. Aw, LMFAO, you cool, but respectfully, I'm actually 17. My friends told me to say I'm 19, but you know, I actually gotta let you know the truth." Nah, that's crazy. I respect you telling me though. Yeah, I didn't want to do you like that. You cool though. Good vibes, LOL. And that's when you think the conversation would stop, right? I was actually serious though if you was 19, LOL. Now, doing some of my detective work in this conversation, I figured out that in 2021, Chris was about 21-ish. I think his birthday is the year 2000. So he's 21, she's 17. That would make for a 4-year age gap in either New York, which the legal age of consent is 17, or in Georgia, which the legal age is 16. Now, again, morally speaking, I don't think any of this is right. I think that that's crazy. I think that that's weird. We do throw around labels a little too loosely, but I won't go into detail on that because I know how y'all feel about any sort of credibility towards any sort of person like this. This is weird. This is disgusting behavior, especially when you go through the other text messages, because these are just seemingly harmless text messages about gaming and stuff like that. Although he probably should have stopped talking to her a long time ago. Those things might be okay. What happens in the iMessage text is where it's totally across the line. In those iMessage text chats, Chris decides to take things up to a different notch. He decides to get sexual with this young lady, and there's text messages that are either A, missing because they may have been deleted, or B, Chris was on some real hornball time because it just looks like him texting and no response. Quote, "Like I could just imagine rubbing my peen on your cat. I'll put my whole peen down your throat right now. Just pick up your leg and put you in your side and just slowly F you while I choke you. No joke, my peen hard as fuck right now just for you. I'm so effing hard, WTF. What you going to do about it? You wouldn't let me F you like right now? Coochie probably dumb wet. Is it?" And there seems to be some videos. I don't know what those videos could possibly be. This is totally out of pocket, totally out of disgust. I mean, I'm just I don't even really know what to say right now. Now, I do want to say, of course, Omegle and Monkey and all these little random chat generated websites we've seen in the past are totally disgusting in my opinion. Not necessarily because the direct idea of what the platform is, random people meeting random things, but we've seen in the past where people have just totally done disgusting things or acts on these platforms, specifically knowing that they will be able to find minors on there and they use it as stream content.
A Stizzy or a vape?
It's a your mom.
Listen to me. Your guys' combined weight is 600 pounds.
And what's strange is people go on there for stream content knowing that they'll find minors and then put them in these semi-sexual situations or completely go racist or whatever the case may be on the platform. And they do this even though they are told that they are a minor at the time while being on the platform. Now, what I think the real freaked out conversation is I don't think Chris was streaming at the time, so why was he just on Omegle or on Monkey just for the fuck of it? Now, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I know Chris deep down inside and I know his intentions, etc., etc. Yeah, I for sure spent a good amount of time with Chris. That was a couple years ago, and I'm not sitting here to say he's just a slime ball, evil person or whatever the case may be, but the actions are deplorable. I never knew that that would be something that he would do or go down that path, but that's not something that I align with. It's disgusting and it's disheartening to know that somebody that you know is like that and does things in that nature, but you can't put anything past anybody at this point. Now, there's probably some conversation as to how things were handled in this situation. I don't know if I agree that this young lady should be reprimanded or killed on the internet for this because ultimately she is young. But what I know about situations like this is something that we'll get to in Kai's statement about this situation is that they always get tied into these things. What I mean by that is the entertainer, the celebrity, the athlete, the politician will always be tied into the people that they employ when they do stuff outside of work that is detrimental to conduct that is supposed to be had at the workplace. They'll ruin your name. And ultimately, it's no fault of the content creator that they have certain people in their circle that do certain things. Granted, I may be a part of the birds of a feather flock together community, but to be honest with you, I don't think that that's this situation now. I don't think that that's the situation from Kai in the past with the New York Eve situation. I don't think that this is the same situation of the woman who came and took pictures when he was, having sex with her and she was extorting him. Like, I don't think any of those situations should be an indictment as to who he is. And especially because their brand is getting bigger and bigger, they're getting more recognizable by friends, families, and just the mainstream media as a whole, household names, if you will. People will be quick to tie those people into the situation and slander their name. Just look at what Complex did. Complex literally put out an article about this situation and decided to not put the right Chris in the conversation. It's strange because they'll literally show a picture of Chris next door, AMP member, and then in the summary, they'll talk about Chris V, the damn cameraman. Like, what are we doing here? Just to be first is crazy. I'm glad Chris next door addressed it and said, yo, take this down. What are we doing right now? And also with that being said, we forget about the human element of things, the way that these people feel in these very vulnerable situations in which their trust was betrayed. And that brings us to Kai Cenat addressing the whole situation.
In 2021, you just got caught talking to a minor who was 17 years old, and it's just fucking annoying when shit happen and shit come up fucking name every time, bro. I get connected in situations. Come relax, bro. Nigga, it gets bad because she lied about her age. She ended up saying her age. Said she was 17. Right at that moment, you're supposed to stop texting. I just woke up. I seen this shit hit the internet. I looked at it. First thing I did was say, hey, let me sit down and let me get down to the bottom of this to completely confirm everything.
Now, while we're here, I do want to address some things. I've been seeing some commentary on the internet talking about the way that these young guys go about doing their public addressing. And mind you, we could all talk about how people should have media training and they should probably do things in a more proper way. But as Kai talks about later on, this is a real authentic way that he feels. You can see that he's almost brought to tears and eventually will be brought to tears in the situation because this is his friend. This is somebody who's been with him for a long time. I personally remember when when Chris came around. It was when we did the first AMP ghost camping trip. And since that moment, when he came in as just a cameraman who was supposed to take pictures, he naturally picked up a camera, started recording, and I can remember vividly Phantom, Agent, everybody telling me this guy needs to be here 24/7. So we made it a point for him to be here. Chris was flying in and out of New York and then ultimately made the decision to move to Atlanta, Georgia, move into the AMP house, to be in the house 24/7. And from there, he became Kai's permanent cameraman. And personally, when I was around, we did shoots together all the time. Like wherever Kai was, Chris was right there with the camera. So this is somebody who is there through every single moment. You can take a snapshot from here and go back 2-3 years, and every single moment that Kai has been through, Chris has been right there. So these are real emotions. So yeah, it might not sound the best that he's not directly addressing, hey, this person is a victim in this situation, and starting off with his tears and how this affects him personally, but that's how he really feels. Yeah, it is messed up that every time his friends, colleagues, coworkers, or whatever the case get into some sort of situation, he gets drugged through the mud. This is authentic though.
I reached out to the person who went online and did all the other shit. She basically, she showed me every single thing. I asked her to confirm the iMessage, to confirm the number. It's confirmed. And I'm just sick and tired of having to do shit like this, because it's like, damn, my nigga, like, somebody who helped me start my whole shit.
I do feel sympathy for you, Kai, because ultimately when you got the cameraman, it took things to a whole nother step. And honestly, this wasn't even something that I think was necessarily planned out. It was literally the idea that he was supposed to come take pictures, and then it transitioned to a whole nother groundbreaking thing. I know you guys have been all over the world, but even in the short time that I was there, we went all over Georgia making videos, and it hurts to have somebody who is so near and dear to you see the good, the bad, the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights, just turn out to be somebody that you can't trust. And I do want to say this too. This is a little bit different than any other situation out there for any normal celebrity or mainstream person. Usually, if a celebrity's assistant, worker, you know, or camera person or whatever gets caught up, it is what it is, because that person is like a 1099 employee that has no relationship. But in the world of streaming, everybody has these super close relationships. Most of the time, these are friends from like the same block. You can see that with Davo and Duke. They are literally brothers. You can see that with Agent and Waleed. Those are literally cousins that have come together to work on these different projects. And there are many more content creators who are just like that, where their brother or their cousin or their sister or whatever is helping them get from the ground up to where they are. So no, this isn't just a situation where a cameraman gets fired. This is a situation where a friend gets fired. This is a situation where a brother gets fired. This is a situation where somebody that is close to you betrays you and your trust, and the fact that you have to cut them off is bigger than somebody putting the camera down and we having to retrain them. It's finding somebody who has been there with you till 3 in the morning, till 2 in the afternoon, from thick to thin, and anything in between. And I do think that it is jacked up when we as a society take this situation of, oh, this person did this bad thing, and because they are closely adjacent to this person, we automatically put the label on that person or have to get some sort of response from that person. It's a jacked up place to be in, but it is the price of fame. It's disgusting. Something that you ultimately signed up for, I guess. I don't know. I hate it.
I met Chris hella times. Super nice to me. Chris and I are very cool. I'm not defending him if this is true or not. Twitter nowadays is like, it could be Scuba Ryan, Fear Buck, or just any of these pages. They could post something and then everyone will just fucking believe it. It's like, you don't even need to fucking look through it anymore. All I'm saying is, let Kai, let Chris, let something come out before you guys just want to point fingers, be like, pedophile. If he's a pedophile, I'm sure Kai will fire him, never talk to him ever again.
Now, before we get out of here, I do want to touch on what Aiden was saying, is that I agree that it is crazy that some of these internet sites, blog sites or whatever, will just go out there and blast whatever information they get via DM. The fact that they have nothing to substantiate their claims and people run with it is kind of crazy to me, only because in 2024, people are on a witch hunt for these predators already. But what I will say is, I am glad that the kids have the confidence to go out and say what they need to say. You know, this is their truth, this is their story, and it's theirs to be told however they want to tell it. Now, everybody has to face the consequences and backlashes of it, but this is just a total slippery slope, nasty situation, and honestly, I don't want anything else to do with it. It's 2024, and we are making sure that we get these people who operate with predatory behaviors, nasty actions, get up out of here. We pack them up, we deal with them accordingly. It just seems like everybody hates Chris right now, and I hate it had to be him.